Shame on you, Square Enix. Shame on you.
Recline.
Not many of you may know this, but when I did my Yes 1 review, I made a mention to Final Fantasy VIII, so let's play that clip right now.
Well, I liked other RPGs from that time. Hell, that's when the original Final Fantasy was released, and that was a damn good game. Still is, even if much of its storytelling and gameplay is simple compared to later Final Fantasy masterpieces like 6 or 7 or even 8.
Oh, you just wanted me to eat my words, didn't you, Squaresoft? Technically now they're Enix, but when they made this game, they were Squaresoft. Let's talk about some of the things that are really controversial in this game. First of all, the junctioning system, for example. The junctioning system involves you drawing magic from your enemies, so that way you can apply it to either A, armor, B, weapons, C, status protection, or D, use in battle. This can get quite tedious because you have to draw the magic from the enemies in order to store it. And you get 6 or 7 per draw sometimes if you're really lucky. Either you like it or you don't. I'm in the middle. I mean, I look at it and I say, okay, there's a few problems with the system in which it's tedious at times, and you have to definitely make sure you've got enough spells, but for the most part, I can see that Final Fantasy needed to branch out from its standard use of magic. So no, the junctioning system's not why I'm against the game. I just wanted to mention it because that's one of the things that lots of people don't like. The reason why I'm really against this game is the battle system. Now, it looks like your standard little Final Fantasy battle system. You've got 3 people on one side, you've got the enemies on the other. You've got your attacks, you've got your magic, you've got your skills. Why would I have a problem with this? That's not what I have a problem with. What I have a problem with is that there is no incentive to partake in this. That's right, there's no reason to do any of these battles. Think about it. In a standard turn-based RPG, one of the key features is the battles. So you would think that one of the key features in Final Fantasy VIII would be the battles. Well, Squaresoft was like, well, screw that. If you want that, go play Final Fantasy VII. The reason that you have these battles in a turn-based RPG is to level up. Let's go to one of my favorite RPGs, Final Fantasy VI, or Chrono Trigger. Let's talk about either one of those because it applies to all of these. In both of these games, sometimes you come across a few battles that are just a little too hard for you to handle at that time. But through steady, determined leveling up, you eventually are able to do those battles and you'll be able to come out on top without any trouble whatsoever. And that is one of the key features in a turn-based RPG. You are meant to level up, and that is your incentive to do the random battles. Now let's talk about Final Fantasy VIII. And I discovered this the hard way. Final Fantasy VIII decided that you are going to be penalized if you do this. See, when I was playing this game, I started fighting every single battle, thinking, okay, you know what, I do these battles, I'm going to level up, I'm going to get stronger, and I'll be able to breeze through this game. Well, Squaresoft decided that that was too easy a system to go with, so they needed to change it up some. Instead of having you grow and be more powerful than the enemies, as you grow, the enemies grow with you, so you get nowhere in trying to get stronger than the enemies. Let me give you a prime example of where this really gets annoying. Early on in the game, and there's no spoilers attached to this, you show up and you have a battle against this one training monster. It's like a T-Rex or something like that. It took 10 to 15 minutes to fight that monster, and my god, that was a damn long time. But at the end of it, I told myself, you know, if I ever have to come back to this place and fight this monster again, at least it will only take a few hits or so because I'll be higher leveled and able to defeat it. Well, when I showed back up at that place several hours later and fought that same enemy, it took 10 to 15 minutes and it was a tough fight because the monster grew as I grew. Now you can look at it and say, okay, this was just a design flaw, it was not meant to happen that way. Yes, it was! If you look at the Steam achievement list, there is an achievement for getting to the end of the game with Squall, the main character, at his initial level, thus proving that you're not meant to level up these characters as you go through the game. Now there are several key elements to a turn-based RPG game. 1. Story. 2. Characters. 3. A battle system that is fun and does not get repetitive and has incentive for you to do it. This game is missing one of those key qualities because if you are not meant to level up, you just have the story and the characters, and you could get that from a movie. You're not. It's just an interactive movie at that point. There is no incentive to partake of one of those key features, and that is the battle. Of course, I figured this out way too late. I've already given this game my blessing. So you know what? I have to say, shame on me for that. Shame on me for not realizing what was happening when I was suckered into expecting this game to be good based off of the fact that I would be enjoying the battle systems that I grew up with in Final Fantasy with the same reward and incentive to actually partake in it. Final Fantasy VIII, you fooled me, my fault. Squaresoft, shame on you! Anyways, thanks for listening to me rant about this. Cheerio and farewell. God, what a disappointment!